Hello, welcome back to my channel. So I have been guided to do another twin flame reading, but I'm feeling so apprehensive towards going into the reading. It's like I'm so scared of doing it. So I don't know if that is the energy that some of you are experiencing right now in regards to a twin flame relationship. There is also another thing that I'm picking up on quite strongly, and that is that this is a reading for two people. One of them that have been holding or has been holding the feminine energy the most, and the other one that has been holding the masculine energy the most. And it's almost as if you met in reality, I feel, at a certain point in time, and it's almost as if when you met, the feminine energy, she was starting to ascend, like she was starting to move up, but the masculine energy was starting to descend. And the thing is, like, these people are really like mirror images of each other, meaning that the feminine energy in this case, she grew up in the underworld, kind of like that was her family dynamic. She, in a sense, she grew up in a place where she was not protected by the light of the father, if that makes sense. You know, her masculine authority was not really enlightened. It's almost like she grew up with a father figure that had fallen in some kind of way. So there might have been addictions, there might have been violence, there might have been abandonment, you know, the father abandoning the family. Any kind of thing that meant that this feminine, she grew up not relying on the light. And so she never kind of knew of the light. That's what I'm getting. And so when she started to ascend, she started to move into a completely new world for her. But for the masculine, it was almost as if it was the other way. It feels like he grew up with a father that was very much in the light, but to the point of maybe almost being like overbearing, like overly rigid in a sense, or strict, and even maybe a little bit judgmental, you know, very clear on what was right and what was wrong. And so it's like the masculine grew up with not a lot of freedom, you know, the boundaries were so clear, whilst for this feminine it was completely the opposite. She had a lot of freedom, but also a lot of fear, because there was no boundaries, there was no real knowing what would happen next. It was more like a chaotic energy. And so it's very different, because I feel like as the feminine started to ascend, the masculine started to descend, and he started to learn more about this chaos energy. And in one way, the chaos energy, it's very creative. Like I said, it can bring about a lot of freedom, but only really if you have the understanding on these energies, because these energies can also be, it's just, you know, they're wild. So a little, and they're kind of like spicy, wild and spicy and heathen and like animalistic. And yes, that can be very liberating, and it can bring about a lot of creative and sexual energy. But also if it goes completely out of control, you know, then that is not healthy either. So I feel like the masculine needed to learn something about like creating balance, whilst the feminine, it's almost like she needed to learn about her power and her word, is what I'm feeling. And so you may be able to recognize this within yourself. Gender doesn't really determine whether you're in your feminine or masculine energy the most. And I also feel like as these two twin flames, or even just the twin flames on Earth, starts to become more and more balanced, everyone will start holding more and more of both of these energies, like both the feminine and the masculine. We'll start having those initiations within our own lives, or within our own subconscious. So that's what I'm getting initially. I will also mention though that I'm feeling that there is if this resonates for you, it feels like you are at this very pivotal moment right now, where it's almost as if you've perfectly mirrored each other, like you've understood each other. You have understood each other's beginning, like you see each other's pain now, you see where your blocks are in each other. That's what I'm feeling. And so you're almost reaching this point of neutrality. It's like the feminine ascended, the masculine descended, but now they're moving back to this point of neutral where they met, you know? That's what I'm feeling again. And so yeah, let's jump into pull some cards. I'm gonna use this Mary L as an oracle, and then I'm gonna use the Hush deck for the tarot. So let's pull from the Mary L now. Two of Wands underneath the deck. This is such a twin flame card in this deck. Yeah, again, it's like, this is what I feel like the feminine, she moved up, she ascended, and so it's almost like she started to tune into future timelines. It's almost like she went into this dream reality where she was bonding with who the masculine could become in the future. Like if he found himself. That's who she started bonding with within herself. But then the masculine, I feel like he descended and he started bonding with kind of like who the feminine used to be, like who she was in the past. And so this, I feel like, created, yeah, it got really dark there, because I feel like this created a lot of confusion for both of them. And it opened them up also to a lot of dark energies, actually, because it's almost like they missed each other energetically, like they could not find each other energetically. And so it's almost like they did not see, yeah, I just feel a lot of dark infiltration has been going on for this twin flame group here. Oh, but now I feel like they're starting to realize that it's almost like they have been tuning into different timelines. They're starting to understand time better. That's what I'm feeling. They're starting to understand time better as they come into neutrality, because you see here, it's like open space between them now. It's like the karma has been cleared. So that's what I'm feeling with this. It's very beautiful. Let's look at the card that came out. The Emperor in the reverse. I feel like this is very much like the falling of the fathers of the past, like the forefathers, I don't know, even the founding fathers, you know, the ones that created kind of like our matrix. It's almost like with this change that is happening now, this energetic change, yeah, it's really starting to break down that matrix, that it's starting to break down the power of the all-knowing, is what I'm getting. It's just becoming old. Wow. this is something. It's something. It feels like there is it's just suddenly stillness. So maybe this is something that these people are going to experience soon, that suddenly within your sphere it's just going to be quiet. And you're going to realize that it's almost like there won't be any more psychic attacks. It's like they have fallen out of your subconscious. You're protected. The karma is gone. You're free. I feel like you're free to create now. Let's pull some tarot cards as well. What do we need to know here? Seven of Pentacles underneath the deck. She holds a key here, the feminine, and she has this raven on her shoulder. And then the Five of Swords coming out in reverse. Yeah, I feel like maybe it's the feminine that understands this. Maybe it's the feminine that understands first what has been going on, in terms of like that she suddenly understands time. She suddenly understands how time operates a bit better through the subconscious, and she's like, wow, yeah, we've been just missing each other. Like, we've been connecting to the wrong timelines. And so when they find each other in the present, everything starts to change. I don't know, you might even bump into, like, if you resonate with this, you might even bump into like that person. Yeah, and if you do, everything is just going to become so clear. It's almost like, it really feels like the power of the feminine is like the feminine holds some kind of power, some kind of light here, some kind of understanding as well of like space and time, I feel, with the raven. And it's like when she starts to ground back down again, when she starts to descend again back down into kind of like hell, if you will, where she came from, or like her roots, with this new light, it's like the unlocking of some new event is what I'm hearing. You know, it's like breaking of curses as well is what I'm feeling, because suddenly she sees, like she sees, and that changes everything. I'm just thinking about the quantum level, you know, what happens if a particle is seen, you know, it's almost like it changes its quantum state. It moves into its opposite state. And so that's the vibe that I'm getting here. It's like when the feminine sees something, understands something, she makes this kind of realization within herself, suddenly the whole dynamic shifts. It's like she unlocks everything. Let's pull another card here. Anything else? Yeah, I'm also feeling that the feminine is becoming very secure suddenly in this new, when she unlocks, it's like she becomes suddenly very secure and just calm. That's what I'm feeling, calm. And that it just removes all the anxiety of the masculine. And so you may even feel this within yourself, like on an individual level, because I feel like the thing with the twin flames is that they also copy each other. So it's like, if you're a dominant feminine and you had a masculine energy, like your blueprint of masculinity was dark and not in power. Maybe it was the blueprint of the poor man, you know, someone that was energetically poor, didn't understand reality. And so when you go through this and you start bonding with this future timeline of your twin flame, it's almost like you pull that in as well as your model for masculinity, this like beautiful, powerful, enlightened blueprint, you know, that would perfectly suit you, that would make you feel so safe and so at home and so secure here on earth. You know what I mean? It's like being with someone that fully understands you and your nature. So that's what I'm feeling that the feminine has been doing. It's like they've been pulling in this new blueprint, and as a result, it just makes them more and more secure the more and more they understand about this. Everything comes into peace, and they understand, and so that makes the masculine fully relax, because I feel like on their end, it's almost like they didn't see the pain of the feminine at all. Like they didn't see where she came from, like her roots, what she had gone through in her life. They didn't feel that pain. It's like they were scared of it. They were running from it. They were scared of feeling her. And so that's why they had to descend. It's like they had to go down and experience some of those experiences. And I'm hearing experience being trapped, not able to move, like not able to create change, just like being trapped with people that don't understand you. And I'm also hearing, and people that don't even care about you and your worth. And so that's really what the masculines had to understand, had to experience, to be able to like fully come into their heart and open up to their own like enlightened self. Because the truth was that the masculine, they were always quite enlightened, like they understood divinity in a way. They were always quite bright, but they lacked the empathy a little bit. It's like they hadn't experienced the pain, and if you have not experienced the pain of the root, it's easy to judge it and say like, you can just do it like this and like this and like this. But then when you fall and when you have to live it, you realize that it's not just doing it like this, like this, like this, because there is no fire anymore. There's no drive. Everything becomes dark. And so there's something about that as well, that once the masculine understands this, it's like his heart opens. It's like, yeah, it feels like, because it's like he truly sees the innocence of the feminine then, like also the power and the strength of this feminine spirit that I'm tapping into. Because it's almost like, for this group of people that I'm reading, the feminine in this group of people, they chose to not darken. They did not become vengeful. They did not, they continue to try to understand their twin flame. They continue to try to understand what had happened. They didn't give up. They just continue to do the work. And so it's like they are very, very kind of pure in a sense inside of their core. They had a lot of karma attached to them, but it's almost like once they are given more and more free will, and once they go through all of these initiations where they can actually choose which timelines they pull in, they just become more and more pure, because it's like their inner light is aligned with the future somehow. That's just what I'm getting. They hold this key. It's like they're the hierophant of the new age almost. That's what I'm feeling. They're just like a star inside. So once the masculine realizes that, it's like he understands that it's safe. He can trust this feminine spirit, because if you give her choice, if she's free to choose, she's gonna choose the highest good of all. So I feel like there is some huge cycle that's coming to a close here in regards to that for this group of people. 5 of Cups coming out. I feel like this is the feminine of the past timelines. And then the 8 of Pentacles. And then underneath the deck is the 4 of Cups. Yeah, it feels like it has been a long cycle. And it also feels like the masculine, it's almost like he has been building his face somehow. I'm feeling just a lot of, kind of on the masculine side, I'm actually feeling like a lot of, in a sense, self-hate and holding himself back. And this is a very like perfectionist energy. And I feel like this is the energy that the feminine used to suffer under. Like, I feel like the feminine was trapped in this energy, but it wasn't because she wanted to be the best in a sense. It was more because she never knew what would happen, because the environment around her was not protected, again, by divine order, because there was no authority, there was no masculine energy in her environment that had chosen to kind of be the head of family, or to be like the authority that made sure that things would happen according to the highest good of all, divine order. I feel like this group of people, they didn't experience that. And so they are so afraid of speaking, because speaking up and kind of like manifesting themselves, coming into reality, because they inside of themselves, they were not able to predict what would happen. It was chaos. And so they just felt like, I have to hold back. I'm not protected. I'm not safe. And so it feels like this whole process of time, it's like they have not been able to receive each other, because they had to restore this energetic web between them. The feminine had to come into divine order. She had to build that masculine within herself, to where she's protected, she feels safe, she feels secure, and she's guided in the right way always. Other shadow energies won't be able to reach her anymore and infiltrate her anymore. It's like she becomes that energy of the virgin, someone that is fully in alignment with their higher self. And then let's just pull one more card for this Eight of Pentacles. I feel like that's the masculine. The Queen of Swords. Yeah, because it feels like there's something that hasn't quite clicked for the masculine. Yeah, and the Ace of Pentacles was underneath the deck, and behind there was the Hanged Man. Yeah, that's why. And behind there was actually the Empress. The Empress feels so kind of like, this feels like the feminine, also with the initial image here, with the raven. So it's something that hasn't quite clicked, I feel, for the masculine energies in regards to this. It's like they're still trying to perfect the work. But it seems like maybe they're working too much in the physical. It's almost like they need to manifest things. It's almost like the masculine just needs to manifest more karma. They just need to manifest more karma. They need to make things real, and then they need to look at that and see where it's wrong. I feel like they're not as internally focused as the feminine, because like I said, remember, the feminine, these energies that are feminine, they have been used to not manifesting at all. They've never really been real. They've never really felt as if they were real people, in a sense, in the world. They've been mainly inside their own world, hiding away because of this corrupted, energy of the masculine, the fallen masculine within their energetic field. And so they're just very much used to sifting through all of the timelines internally until they find the right one, until they're certain that, yes, this is it, this is the one. If I go for this, I'm gonna be safe. Like this, I'm safe manifesting this, I'm safe speaking this. So that's what I feel, that the feminine, they kind of reach this place of alignment a bit before the masculines, because they do a lot more internal work. Like they sift through the timelines internally before they manifest. That's what I'm getting. And so it's almost like the feminines, they know a lot more. They know a lot. They understand a lot, but they hold themselves back also a lot, because they just believe that people aren't interested in listening to them. And to a certain extent, they're probably true. When people are coming from this false light authority, they're programmed to not want to listen to anything really but the big man. They don't want to listen to the small players, because again, they're programmed to believe that there's no value there. And so they don't listen to these sources within themselves. They don't listen to these small players within themselves. And they don't listen to these small players external to them either. And so they just, again, they have to manifest their karma, because the guidance that would kind of like bring them onto alternative timelines, it doesn't reach them until they are on their knees. That's what I'm feeling, until they have nothing left, kind of, and are giving up, surrendering. And so that's why I feel like, depending on how much masculine energy people have, they may have to manifest quite a lot of karma until they're able to tune inwards and start to do the internal work. But I feel for a group of people now, it's like this group of masculines, they're really close to reaching that point of, releasing themselves from this position of being trapped. And it happens because they have understood. It's like the Ace of Pentacles. They have figured out who is the one, what is the one, which timeline is the right one, which timeline is actually real right now in this present moment. And so I feel like they're very, very close. They're very, very close. And when that happens, it's almost as if the feminine is just going to appear in the life of this masculine. It's just suddenly she's going to be there. It's like she's no longer this veiled bird, but suddenly she's real. So pretty cool energy. I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.